Listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome to Comedy, the podcast that helps you find new, emerging, and undiscovered independent comedy podcasts. I'm Greg, the host and curator of comedy. Today's episode is from Doom Generation. Tessa and Nicole takes you on a hilarious Cliff Notes retelling of the movies that doom them. If you like today's episode, make sure to check out the episode description for links to subscribe. All right, let's get this show started.
Begin.
1, 2, 3. Greetings and salutations.
The universe is just doomed.
Most smartest?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. You're real educated, like most smartest. Get a picture of that. Most smartest.
Most smartest.
Come on.
Hello.
Hi and welcome.
Welcome back.
We are going to have some bars.
And some beers.
Beers
and some bars.
Beers and some bars.
Liana is here as our Loretta.
You hear me, Loretta?
Well, we talk about Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Yes, 1999. But first, give them the quick bills.
Follow
Doom
us on
bills.
Instagram at Doom Generation Pod and on Twitter at Doom Gen Pod for sweet movie scene photo edits.
So sweet.
Join our Patreon at a low price of $2 or $4 a month, which we decided is the price of a packet of not sucrets. Ludens. Fuck, I'm still on sucretes.
Sucretes. Abinacus.
For rad merch, bonus audios, maybe some video content. You never know.
You never know.
Call us, text us at 702-720-DOOM.
Call me.
And now I'm going to just admit right up front that I did not see this movie until I became friends with Tessa and she introduced me to this
I was like,
movie.
you have never seen Drop Dead Gorgeous?
Because I was under the impression, probably as unfortunately several people,
Yeah.
that this was a genuine movie about, like I knew it was a comedy,
No,
but
no.
like I just thought it was a straight up
That's-
movie about pageants and I was like, I'm not
That's
into
what
it.
happened.
I have
That's
no
part
interest.
that's part of my story is because I went to see this movie in the theaters with Jamie. Jamie wanted to go see it, and I was like, Psh,
It's a
Denise
pageant
Richards,
movie, right?
like, because I wasn't necessarily a fan. Like Kirsten Dunst, I don't think she had done anything since that I had seen, or that I was interested in since Interview with the Vampire.
Right. When
So,
was
and it was
Virgin
like-
Suicides? Was that after this?
Oh, maybe.
See, and I didn't do my
Maybe.
research on what I had seen them in
No, I
before.
didn't. No, I didn't. That
she
could have
might
been.
have, yeah.
That might have been it. But still, I thought it was going to be like a rom-com. We went and
Yeah.
saw this movie. We were the only two people in the theater, and I fucking died.
You're like, I love it.
Died. Like, it started, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then by the time she's out there dancing with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I was like fucking Annette. I was Annette through the whole thing.
Right.
When she's all drugged up in the fucking audience.
Just laughing from the
Just
fucking audience.
dying. It was just me and her, and we were fucking pissing ourselves.
And yeah, and it's hilarious. Like
Yeah.
once I saw it, I was like, oh, I totally did not realize that's what this movie was.
Yeah.
And so we've got
Like your
Kirstie
little
Alley.
mockumentary.
Yeah. So it's kind of, it gives you best in show.
A little bit.
But for beauty pageants
Yeah.
in the 90s.
And like
In
I'm
Minnesota.
in Minnesota. We're gonna, just so you know,
That'll be happening, I'm sure.
it's gonna be happening. We can't not. So we have
Kirstie Alley as Gladys.
Gladys.
The mother to Denise Richards, who's
Becky Ann Lehman. She was 29 at the time. Playing
Denise Richards was? Oh, fuck.
29 playing a
Wow.
17-year-old. And also Sarah Michelle Gellar auditioned for
To
this
be Rebecca.
role, to be Becca Lehman.
And then her dad is Sam McMurray.
Right, and
Who
I
was
think I
just, we
mentioned-
did Raising Arizona.
Right, recently that he kind of plays
Yep,
like a
same
Nathan Arizona,
character.
like so much later. He kind of
And so he plays, he's got Nathan Arizona is his job, but he's still giving you sleazeball Glenn or whatever
That
his name
too,
was,
like those
energy.
racist
perverted and
fucking
racist
jokes.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. And we have, did we say Kirsten
Dunst as Amber.
Kirstie and Kirsten? Kirstie and Kirsten.
Right. And then her mom is Ellen Barkin, Annette
Right.
Atkins.
And we have, and that was the other thing. Melissa Joan Hart auditioned for Amber Atkins. And Annette, Goldie Hawn was considered.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Ellen Barkin, though.
Right. Oh, I do too. Her hair is fabulous.
Yeah,
in this
she
movie.
looks
It's
good.
so good.
She looks good. Allison Janey as the best friend to that mom, Loretta.
And
It's hilarious.
She says that she's recognized more for this than anything else she's ever done.
I love Allison Janey. If you don't
I
know
do
who that
too. I
is, or
love
you haven't
her.
seen anything with Allison Janey, you need to go find something stat because she is great.
But still, I think this is my favorite.
Yeah,
Like it's
it's
just
so
it's
good.
iconic. It's classic as Loretta. And I guess Sigourney Weaver was also considered for this role, which
She could have done. I could
she
see her
could have
being
done
funny
it. I
as
could-
that,
but
Allison
Allison
Janey
Janey, like this
locked
is
it.
her. She is Loretta.
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
Brittany Murphy, R.I.P. as
Dearly
Lisa.
departed.
Amy Adams as Leslie.
This was her first movie. It was introducing Amy Adams.
Okay. Adam West, who's just got kind of a cameo as himself.
Yeah, he plays himself, and this proves he eats pussy.
We've been telling you.
I put it in my notes. I'm like, see,
We have been telling you that Batman performs the cunnilingus.
Colingus. I believe
He puts the pussy on the chain.
he puts the pussy on his tongue wax.
And then Will Sasso, what was his character's name? Hank, right.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, yes, it is problematic for many reasons, but
They are going to use the R slur
many times.
many times in
many
this film.
iterations.
But let's just say Will Sasso is slow.
yeah, it's hilarious.
He is
though. Tell me you didn't
developmentally
fucking laugh.
disabled, but he is a joy.
And we also have Mo Gaffney, Bo
Right?
Chrysalis.
From fucking Ab Fab and shit, and Nora Dunn from SNL. So they're only towards the end, but still, I mean, worth a
And
mention.
what was it? Mindy Sterling too is another face. Iris.
Yes. She's been in a
Sidekick,
ton of
she's
things.
been in a
yeah.
bunch of shit too, so she's also recognizable. And then until today, when I was looking up the cast,
Oh, right.
Thomas Lennon
Yes, from the
is
state.
the voice, the documentarian that's filming all of this shit. And I didn't know that until today. And then when I was watching it, I was like, oh shit, that's totally his fucking voice.
That's crazy.
But
and
you
I
never
wonder,
see him.
did he have anything, or like the state people have anything
I
to do with
feel
the
like
making
I
of this movie?
saw, Jan Patrick, who was fuck.
One of the other state cast members.
I feel like I saw one of the names out there for like a writer or something. Oh my God.
All right. Well, I tried to start a fire, and we had to pause.
We had to stop for
We had
a
to pause,
second.
and we're back, and
Things
we're
are
talking about
on
the
fire
movie
and
now.
everything's cool. So yeah, Thomas Lennon is
Yes.
the voice that you never see him, but you see the cameraman, but you never actually
Right.
see him. So
We open.
we
It is the 50th anniversary of the nation's first beauty pageant, Sarah Rose Cosmetics Teen Beauty Pageant.
1995 marks the 50th. It's the oldest one in existence. This is Sarah Rose Nose. It's like the Shaft opening. Sarah Rose Nose.
And it's a documentary about the 50th whatever anniversary of this pageant.
Trek to the Crown. Whatever.
Yeah,
like
so there's
it's
an
like
ad for this pageant, Adam West hosting,
Adam West.
and then it's a TV they're watching, and it turns to Days of Our Lives, and it's
Like
now.
sands through the hours. Like, Iris, you taped over your stories.
So yes, Kirstie Alley is pissed.
And now it's gone forever.
She taped over the fucking pageant instructions, so now she has to just tell these girls in the gym or wherever they are.
Right, like what they're signing up for.
And somebody asks outside, they interview her, are pageants a good idea?
Oh, now I know what you're going to say, you hairy-legged. What is it?
Feminist.
No bra wearing feminists would say out there in the big cities. But there's no back room in our video store.
That's right.
No, that's better left. That kind of filth. It's better left to the bigger cities.
They're all God-fearing Lutherans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're God-fearing Lutherans.
So they're going to the Mall of America
Yes.
for outfits.
You would think they would have the parking lot of America to go with the Mall of America. Oh, and they almost run over
The drunk
Father
priest.
Donegan. Father Donegan, sidewalks.
And what was
Like,
it about?
oh,
He can't
good,
resist the communal
it's
wine.
just too big a temptation for him. And that's why we Lutherans use grape Kool-Aid for the blood of
Yes.
Christ. I'm surprised that Edie McClurg was not in this. It seems
She has a
like
perfect
should have
accent
had
for
a
it, for
place in
sure.
that.
Yeah. And so she parks in the handicap zone and is
First,
like,
we got to talk about the oldest living Lutheran.
oh, the
Frida
sign
Hager
from the
sign.
mayor.
I tell him every year to take down the Frida sign, you lazy sons of bitches. Like, oh, she died.
She's
died
been
like
dead.
years ago. Right. But yes, they go to the Mall America and then they almost run over the priest. And then they talk about she's parked in the handicap spot, right?
I'll move if a cripple comes.
I told you. And she's like, that's awful. But like, what are the past themes?
Yeah,
she's
so
trying
she's
to think of the
thinking
theme.
of a theme for the pageant.
Like, do you, what were the previous themes? And it was,
Buy American.
American. USA is
Is
A-OK. And do you have a favorite one? Do I? I can.
And this year it's going to be proud to be an American.
American.
Because they just come to her.
Right. It might be a gift from God or something. I don't know.
So then we're at the pageant registration.
Yes.
And we see Denise Richards, Kirsten Dunst,
Right.
Amy Adams, all of them. So we get introduced to all of them.
Right.
And so you know that Leslie can't stop fucking her boyfriend long enough to talk to an interviewer.
My boyfriend thinks I can win. She's like, woo, go Muskies.
And then Amber's talent we see is tap dancing while
Right.
putting makeup on dead people.
Oh, yes, that's right. She only does the hair and makeup on the deceased.
Yes. And then Kirstie Alley tells us she was Mount Rose's American Teen Princess
when she was 17. And this one's extra special because I don't know if you know this, but when I was 17, I won. And this year, my daughter, Rebecca Ann Lehman, is competing.
And so we see that Rebecca is the vice president of the Ladies Lutheran Gun Club.
Oh, God, this fucking... Yeah, she's the vice president.
Yeah.
She just recently lost out to Tammy Curry.
And her mom bought her a 9 mil for her 13th
Oh,
birthday
yeah.
because Jesus loves winners.
Right, this 30-aught that my mom got me for my birthday. I still remember what she inscribed on it. Jesus loves winners. And like the grouping is all like headshots.
Yep.
Brah, 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 brah.
She's a good shot.
Well, remember that shit.
Brittany Murphy's Lisa, her talent is singing and dancing.
She tells him like, oh, if you're 17. Oh, yeah. Like it's like asking why all the guys to Copenhagen. If you're 17 and you're not a total fry, it's just what you do.
That's just what you do. And she
It's just
talks
what you
about her
do.
brother Peter, who she visited in New York,
She fell in love with the Big Apple just last summer while visiting her brother Peter.
who is a drag queen.
This is him as Liza, Madonna, Barbara.
She's kissing the photo.
Yeah,
She loves her
Peter
brother.
is a drag queen, and Tess Winehouse.
And her wiener dog.
She's obsessed with German shepherds, but she had one, but he went to go live with a nice family on a farm because he attacked me. But it wasn't his fault. I had beef jerky in my front pocket.
That's right.
Well, they remade my stomach with skin from my butt.
Yeah, they sure did. And that girl gives me the girl from Real Genius vibes.
Yeah, a little bit.
That nerdy girl.
Uh-huh.
They're like
do you
they
think
could
she got hit with a lucky bolt?
right? I could totally
She might
see
have.
that.
That's what happened.
And then the first teen princess,
The librarian. Right?
Yes.
The 1945. She's the librarian at the school.
and she had to turn in her tiara for scrap
Yeah,
during the
they
war.
were at war with a slur we're not going to repeat. But yeah, I had to turn it in for scrap. I didn't even get to keep my damn tiara.
And then we meet, is it Molly?
Yes,
And her
Molly
adoptive
Howard,
Asian parents who
They-
adopted her 3 years
to
ago.
acclimate them to American.
And then their actual biological daughter comes in speaking Japanese and they call her.
Speak English, you stupid little bear.
Yeah. So again, lots of arslers. Molly's talent is line dancing.
Yeah, country western.
And then Michelle,
Yes, she is an actress.
she's going to do a dramatic monologue.
Othello or Soylent Green.
Then we meet the former pageant winner who's advertising pork products.
Oh God, that's right. Because she says like a lot of the pageant winners transition into acting, and it's Connie Redred talking about St. Paul pork products.
Oh, man.
I just love St. Paul pork products, and when it's Vera and Walter Pulowski when they raised and slaughtered their first hog.
Oh, and
I grew up next to these stockyards.
she loves it so much. She works at the
I
factory
work here
now.
now.
And then Janelle, whose talent is an interpretive dance while she does American Sign
She
Language.
wants to spread sign language all around the world. And she breathes all, I want to spread
Yes.
sign language around the world. Mother, would you be so kind?
Tammy the Sporto, who's the president of the Ladies Lutheran Gun
Those
Club.
brows. Oh, yeah. Love that one.
And she is gone very quickly
She's a
because she
jock.
gets on a thresher.
Right. She's out there talking about, like, I know a lot of people think that I shouldn't be competing in a beauty pageant, but, like, they didn't think I could beat out Becky Lehman for president of the gun club, and I did. So it's like they say, the only one that could stop me is me. And kaboom!
That fucking thresher explodes. And she did.
Was like, what? Like,
Yep.
watching this movie,
So that's your
fucking
first
turn.
clue that this movie is not just
She goes up on an explode. Yeah, they go
a
to-
pageant film.
No,
Like,
it's
this
weird.
is crazy.
It is a dark.
Yeah, it's dark comedy.
But yeah, we go to her funeral, and it's like, oh, it's always hard to see the young ones called home, especially on an exploding thresher.
Yeah. And the bad girls in the bathroom, they are the first ones to say, like, Tammy
Do no
was
goddamn
killed.
pageant.
Yeah. And that Tammy was killed because of the pageant.
Right, like she was gonna win, and somebody didn't want her to. It's like a roach motel. They check in, but they don't check out.
In the dance studio, they're in a ballet class with Cloris, the choreographer.
Oh my God. Tendu clothes. Tendu clothes. Tendu clothes, plie.
And she says it's going to come down to Amber and Becky.
Close your legs. You look like a bunch of bow-legged cows. Other side.
And why that lady looks like Bruce Valanche.
She's my favorite. She's one of my favorite parts of this movie.
She's so like Bruce Valanche's twin sister.
She does. You put
It's the
glasses
hair,
on her.
yeah.
You put glasses on her, that's what you get.
And then we go to the hospital.
At the bulimia and anorexia wing, and we have Mary Johnson, the current fucking reigning.
And Amber goes every week and does her hair,
Yeah, she's
which is
brushing her
coming
hair.
out in clumps.
Ooh, just a little
Don't say
snarl,
anything.
don't tell her. And then Becky comes in. Oh,
Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you? This little game we play.
So she's clearly never been to visit Mary, but is pretending that she comes to visit her regularly.
She brings her favorite, a box of chocolates. She's
You brought chocolates to an anorexic?
She's skinny,
Not
deaf. Oh my God.
And then we see Amber practicing dancing down the side of the road.
Right. And we go to her trailer.
Yes.
To her interview. And then it's like her room. And she talks about, sometimes I think about getting out of here. And she talks about Diane Sawyer.
She wants to be Diane Sawyer.
Right. And she's like, boys get out of here all the time with like hockey scholarships and jail.
Prison,
Yeah.
And then you hear a hacking cough from the other room.
You get my smokes.
That's my mom.
Oh, yeah. Like,
So that's Ellen Barkin. Go get my smokes.
Right. And she was like, oh, they just wanted to film me for a documentary and see my room. Like, they ask you to take your top off. Get the money first.
Yeah.
And get my smokes.
Yep. And then we go to Becky's mansion and meet Dad, who's the sleazeball. And they're super boring and white and whatever.
And she's like, oh, when we're outside these walls, I'm impartial as the day is long, but you're in my home. And I have my wife apron on and my mom hat. So she could tell you that this is the most talented girl to ever compete in the American teen princess pageant.
So, of course, she's biased.
And then Lester Lehman's out here talking about, like, oh, look at all this shit, like, it's not a showroom or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like,
he's showing
how
off all
quickly
of
they
their
forget where
all
it
their
all
rich
comes
stuff.
from, like
Yeah.
Taiwan.
Exactly.
And then he compares her to Sammy Davis Jr. He's totally that guy.
He
like
totally
moved
is.
on from Arizona. He left Dot.
Yes,
Was that
Dot.
the
Yeah,
name? He left Dot and moved on to
same accent that she had in. Was it Minnesota, Fargo? No, it was,
no.
but it was
Yeah,
similar.
No,
that
she
accent.
based that on her character in Fargo.
Oh, that's right.
Kirstie Alley based this character on Frances
so
McDormand
it was
in Fargo.
that accent then.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
from
for sure.
that anyway.
Weird connection because
Weird
that was Dot.
connections.
We meet the judges.
Yes.
Judge number 1, John Doe.
John Doe.
Dough.
Yes, like Doe men.
The pharmacist creep.
Oh, and like, oh,
I don't
no,
want
I've
nothing to do with no teenage girls.
I've never been around like teenage girl. Why? Did somebody say something?
Why would I be around teenage girls? Judge number 2, Harold Vimes.
And his brother, and he's like, "Oh no, this is the first time. Are we on Cops?
Yeah.
Are we on Cops?"
I love Will Sasso. He
like
was like
this-
one of the best parts of Mad TV.
It's really funny, but it's not.
It's like because he doesn't like he does it slow guy, but like slow guy who gets it sort of like he's not that
because
he doesn't
does later.
he
Like
didn't go full arse.
I was thinking that the whole time. All I could hear was Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
No, you never
Don't go full.
I
No.
know.
And so you meet him, and he's like lovable, of
Of
course.
course. And
Yeah,
he
are
was
we
like
on
a-
cops? And they start smacking the shit out of each other. Mom's hitting on the head.
Yeah, mom's dead, so shut your fly trap. I will if you shut your pie hole.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, he's like huffing paint.
And he's like, yeah, he comes after him with a snow shovel.
Yes.
It's like, yeah,
And
it
he's
gets
like,
rough.
well, we're going to use the money to, get mom a proper headstone and move her out
Move her
to the
to the
cemetery.
yeah. So where the fuck is she
I
now?
don't know. She's in the back of the
She's in
store.
the basement.
And
yeah,
then
the
we
back of the
have,
store.
Jean Kangas, she's the screenwriter or the writer.
Oh, she
or
doesn't
whatever.
speak through the whole
No,
thing,
she
right?
doesn't speak through
So
the whole
she
thing, but
is
she's-
the Becky's dad's furniture store
It's
like
just him
assistant.
talking about it. Like you don't even know that it's supposed to be about her until the very
And then
very
it just
end.
says judge number 3 and has her name.
Right, and he talks about like it's like quality, like he does that Beetlejuice thing, and then he's like, if you don't slur me down, I'm
Yes,
like,
I
"Fuck,
know.
dude."
He's a total racist.
Of course, he's like carried that over. And he's like, little do they know, the hutch is included in the price. Oh, hey, and take a memo, sweetheart. And he like gooses her, and then that's when we see that she's judge.
The judge number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So then we've got pageant rehearsals with Cloris in the driveway.
Yeah, it's a week before, and like the folks are out watching, and John is out there
Fucking
recording.
John Doe. Judge
He was
number
like,
1 is videotaping.
I was just watching the young girls. I mean, contestants.
like everyone else out
Everybody
here.
else out here, like, I just keep this camera in the glove compartment for like, like accidents,
You just
insurance
never know. You
purposes
never
and
know.
whatever. Like, you got a camera. No one's saying anything to you.
Thou dost protest too
I
much,
think a little
John
bit.
Doe.
And then like Tess nails her cooter on that step stool.
Oh yeah, ouch.
She got them short legs. She
I
can't
did
help
that
it.
on a bedpost one time, like
I
trying
think
to
I
jump
told
off the
that
bed or
story
something.
Before seeing that girl,
I
on
got
the
it
monkey
right in the
bars.
pubic bone, like
Yeah.
right on the.
Silent scream times. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't got nards, but it still fucking hurts.
it's still your fucking cooter.
It's just straight up bone. It's just bone on fucking.
It's
ouch.
Coocher.
So then in the school cafeteria, Becky is trying to get the captain of the football team, Brett, to go cow tipping with her.
Right, and
Because
he's
she's a
not
total ram.
interested. Right, totally.
She would have loved them.
Yes, they should have switched that shit out.
And
but
he's like,
he's
"No,
not
I'm busy.
interested.
I'm
Like
busy."
I got shit to do. Like whatever. And then she sees that he seems to be
Into Amber.
into Amber, and she's like, "Give her your tray, Brett."
Because she works in the cafeteria
Right.
washing dishes.
She's got to like rinse the trays and shit. She busses the trays.
So she like slams her
Mm-hmm.
tray down so that lutefisk flies into her hair.
Lutefisk.
He asks her out for Friday, so he doesn't care. He's like, "You got lutefisk in your hair.
She's
Must
like,
be
well,
what was
must
it?
be Wednesday."
Yeah.
And she's like, then we cut to the librarian again talking about lutefisk. It's codfish that's been soaked in lye for about a week. Salted and soaked in lye for about it's best with lots of butter.
I bet."
Ugh, what?
So he asks her out for Friday, and she says yes at first, but she's like, "Oh, I got to work at the funeral home."
We're really busy. It's hunting season.
Hunting
And then
season.
like he's like, well, I'm gonna leave early and go out for some duck hunting.
I'll call you later.
Right. And then later on, the camera sneaks up on Amber in the kitchen.
And she's like, "You shouldn't be here. Becky will see you."
Did Becky see you? Like, and now this is when I could tell it was Thomas Lanning, because this was after I found out. And he's like, no, it's cool. Doreen gave us hairnets. She's like, no. Like, you can't be back here.
can't be
Like,
back
you can't. No one can see you talking to me. Like, meet me later at the house.
So then we're at the trailer park where she lives.
Like, oh shit, are we on Cops again?
So you hear Allison Janey laughing, and you see that Ellen Barkin is inside doing her hair, and that's where she's like, "Are we on Cops again?" Because
Right.
they
And
see
it's
the
like,
cameras.
oh no, they're doing a documentary about the pageant or whatever.
So they introduce Loretta and her mom.
And she was like, oh, do you already go over to the Lehman's house?
Right, yeah.
You already got all the pics of the winner that you're all going to need or whatever. And she's like, well, I'll tell you who should win.
Yes, the Amber deserves to win.
Right. She's best damn tapper. Prettiest. Most smartest.
most
smartest.
smartest.
Good look at this. Most smartest.
Get a picture of that.
Pumping up your kid here. Loretta's wholesome.
I love her.
I do.
She is an alcoholic, clearly, but
Everyone should have
lovable,
a Loretta in
lovable.
their life. You hear me, Loretta?
she's positive.
She's positively Loretta.
So at the funeral home, the camera crew sneaks up on Amber.
Right, like, oh, Jesus Christ on a cross.
Which you don't sneak up on people in a funeral home.
Right, like
on the living. You don't sneak up on the living.
You could have an embalming needle or a bone
right.
saw
You
in your
never
hand.
know.
And Mr. Larson's son found out the hard way. He's buried next to my grandpa.
So she goes to like take off the sheet of the next person she needs to do makeup for.
And it's Brett.
It's the football captain.
Oh, no.
Shot right between the eyes.
It's weird,
in a duck
though.
hunting accident.
He took it right between the eyes. Don't usually see that.
Nope.
And then they go back talking to Becky at the gun
Who's
club.
cleaning her gun.
Talking about, so did you hear that Brett was shot in the head?
Oh, really? Well, hunting is dangerous.
So anyway, my mom got me this.
Uh-huh. It's a red flag. So then back at the funeral home again, the owner coming in, telling
comes in
her,
to tell her,
people
like,
complained.
About
The old lady.
Stella, and like, I didn't want her to meet her maker looking like a cheap whore. Well, that cheap whore is their loving mother.
And
So you need to
she
do
wants
it
that
up.
red lipstick.
Right. So then he talks about like, and Brett, they want the just in off the snowmobile. Yeah. Rosy
Pink
cheeks.
cheeks,
And,
yeah.
whatever. And then,
She's talking about being scared of Becky.
oh, yeah. She was like, sorry, I couldn't talk to you earlier, but I found this picture of Tammy in my locker. And this was written on the back, and it says, "You're next."
Yep.
Ooh. And the cops, we cut to
Mm-hmm.
talking, and they're like, "Oh, hell yeah. It was the Curry girl. She was smoking and driving."
Must have been.
And Amber's like, no. She used to drive her dad's threshers. Said the heavy vibrations helped her think.
But she only smoked
I knew
after
for
a good
fact.
after a good drive.
After a good drive,
Yeah.
because Tammy.
And so she thinks she was murdered also.
Right. If you ask me or anybody else who's not afraid to talk about it, she was murdered.
And then the owner runs in again and is like, "Oh, you got to go home. There's an emergency at the trailer park."
She's like, no, that's fine. It's just my mom's code for pick up some milk and a packet of Luckies carton of Luckies at the store. And he's like, no.
Loretta called.
Loretta
There's been a
called.
fire.
There's been a fire. So she rushes home to find this burned out trailer. She's like, Mom,
Everything's burned up.
Mom. And like the firefighter grabs her, like, are you family? Like, no, you idiot. She's just out here screaming, Mom. She's got Tourette's.
It's her
Annette's
daughter,
kid.
idiot. Yeah, exactly.
And then she's like, where is she? She's like, oh, she's alive and she's going to be all right. And she's
Being loaded into the ambulance on the
Right.
way to the hospital burn unit.
right. She's like, I'll be right behind you in the hearse.
She's
But
got
don't let that worry you, Annette.
And so the doctor says she has an unusual injury, and
my
she
God.
shows her hand, and her
When they
hand
unwrap it, it's like melted
it
to
is
her beer
fused
can.
to her beer can.
Oh,
Her hand is fused to the beer can.
I love it. I love it so much.
She says she sat down to have a beer and kablooey.
Kablooey. Next
Something
thing
blew
I
through
know-
her window.
Yeah.
She ends
I
up
was
in a flower bed.
into
Yeah.
the neighbor's flower
Flower
bed.
bed.
And they showed that video.
The police file footage of these two boys playing guitar, and there's like,
Right, like, hey, asswipe. Like, don't say asswipe. My mom's got the window open.
and then there's this huge explosion in the background, shit flying everywhere.
Right.
But she put her tap shoes in her panties before she was blown out the
managed
window.
to stuff her tap shoes in her panties.
Which I don't know how in the world, like that they must have been right there next to her hand.
or something. Who
and
knows?
in her panties even. That's
Right,
hilarious.
that's funny. So then she's like,
Talk to the guy who cut him off me.
right, he'll get them for you,
get 'em
honey.
for you.
But Amber's gonna tell her something. But she can't quite find.
Are you
the-
pregnant?
Oh my God, she's pregnant.
No, she's not pregnant, but she
Right.
wants to quit the pageant.
Loretta goes to talk to her, and she tells her like, "Oh, I'm gonna drop out." Like, you're what? She's like, "No, I heard you, but I was trying to scare some sense into you." And then she's trying to talk her out of it. She's
The
like,
woman clung onto your tap shoes while flying through the air like a goddamn lawn dart.
like, and then like that candy striper comes.
They
in.
abused the candy striper
like,
verbally.
Serious Sally, what a nice cool mint help turn that frown upside down. Like, what a nice cool mint help you. Like, if I shoved your head up your ass.
And
then
she goes back in and tells her mom she's not pregnant, but she's thinking about quitting the pageant.
she fucking like
Smacks
bonks
her in the head with that
thing. She's
beer
like,
can.
I am reaching the point where I would kill for the nicotine under somebody's fingernails. You hear me, Loretta? The next one that comes in here without a carton of Lucky, she dies. She dies.
So she sends the cameras and Loretta out,
Mm-hmm.
and Amber tells her she's scared.
Right. And she's like, you're not the one that knows what Jiffy Pop feels like, Missy.
And she's like, look, you need to get out of this town.
Right.
You're the only thing in my life that's not a mistake.
Right.
They have a nice little bonding moment.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're going to win. Tears all around.
Yes.
And then they talk about her dad.
She tells like, no, she's not quitting. Hell no. She's not quitting. She's like, oh, she said that she'd look up my dad and marry him. And then like, oh, we were never upset that dad picked his career over us. Like, what'd they say?
Once a carny, always a carny.
Mom still tears up when she sees a tilt-a-whirl or a fat lady in a tube top.
And then the cops talking about the Atkins fire. Oh, that was no foul play.
It was faulty wiring.
Bad wiring.
Yeah. So now we have...
We're at the VFW hall at the judge's interview 3 days before the pageant.
And they go over like the rules. Like American teen princesses don't cross their legs like streetwalkers. And she's like, hey, close that up. I could drive a boat show through there.
Put your knees together, cross your ankles, hands in your laps.
And the judges are just as nervous as you are.
And so the judges ask a bunch of random questions. So what kind of, if you could be any tree, what kind would you be?
Dogwood, a bonsai, green.
Any kind you want, just let me warm up. One says it in sign language. And then Becky, of course, one with strong roots in the community, like a Mount Rose.
A strong Christian trunk and long leafy branches for handicapped kids on a summer
To
day.
provide shade. You know, and then we got Lisa comes up. You know, the Arsler's pants are open.
Yeah, and then that laugh.
That laugh.
And then they ask about like anybody dead or alive or
Who would you
president,
pick to be president?
like Emperor Hirohito and then
Brett
Brett
Favre.
Favre. And the other one still wore me like, ah.
My mother, because she would solve world hunger with her blue ribbon rhubarb pies.
Oh, yes. And world peace with one of her prayers and still look good for my dad, Lester Lehman. And why doesn't she have an accent? Did they teach her non-regional diction?
Yeah, must have. And now his pants are completely off.
Right. And they talk about swimming or something. And then Lisa talks about how like, oh, I met Greg Louganis at one of my brother's shows. And she does that maniacal laugh. She continues.
She does that crazy laugh.
And like, yeah, the pants are completely off. Like she stopped signing. She's like,
yeah, like, oh no.
close up shop. Close up shop.
And then it's Amber's turn. And instead of these trivial questions, she gets.
Questions, like name and spell all the states in alphabetical order.
And she nails it.
Seriously? And yeah, she totally does it. Like she starts off really slow. And then we get to West Virginia and Wisconsin.
Will Sasso's over there
Yes.
like, yes, he's
He's like,
excited. He's excited. Then we go back to Mary in the hospital, talking about
like,
what she was doing before the pageant.
Finishing my costume, brushing up on current events, running about 18 miles a day, all in about 400 calories.
Yep.
I was ready.
Yes. Then it's dress rehearsal, day
They're
before the pageant.
Setting up in the green room, and they're going in show order today. That's very important.
And we got caboodles and Aquanet everywhere.
Yes.
And we find out that Leslie is pregnant.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm really nervous. Like, I'm about, like, what is it?
2 months.
2 months late.
How could you tell?
I haven't even told my boyfriend yet. Oh, about the pageant. Yeah, I'm super nervous about the pageant.
Then we got Amber talking about how all her clothes melted to her mother's. But in a weird miracle,
And it was still on the hanger.
her tap costume was found on the roof of a neighboring trailer, still on the hanger.
And then we have Becky talking about her 800 sequence.
Yes, on her poodle skirt.
Mrs. Lopez made it for me. She's one of my father's many Mexican workers. He lifts them from the poverty she knows in Mexico.
Mexico, yes.
Right.
And then the ASL girl wants to trade for the number 1 spot because
Right. 'cause
her
she's-
sister or her cousin had a baby,
deaf
a deaf baby, and
she
she's
gets
so
go
excited
see
to meet it.
So she needs to go first, but that's cool because number 8 is Amber's lucky number. It was Diane
she's
Sawyer's
down,
number. Yep. And then Janelle goes first, and she's doing her thing, and she's nailed by a
Light
falling
falls
light.
down on her head.
Don't move the body. Don't touch the body.
She could be paralyzed from the
and
neck
you wouldn't
down.
even know it. And but before that, like Gladys is all sad, like all but one of these girls is gonna walk away a loser.
All of these girls, all but
Well,
one, are gonna walk away a loser.
Just about, yeah. But
And then Amber's like, "Oh shit, that was supposed to
She's
be
like,
me.
it was
I owe my life to that deaf baby."
I owe my life to that deaf baby.
So then Loretta comes in and says, "Your mom wanted you to have this," and
She
it's like a
puts down, like, a
fucking
drink,
scotch
like a
or something.
bourbon or something.
Really, Loretta?
Really, Loretta? Like, don't have kids. Like, oh, God love it for thinking I still could. She's like, but she did want you to have this, though. And it's a new dress because her last one got torched.
And looks just like one of Diane Sawyer's.
But not a size 10, though. She was a little hippie back in those days.
Which, I wish I was a size 10.
Whatever. Like, I don't even think I can get my hips in a size 10. Not our girl, though. Oh, no.
Night of the pageant, Loretta drags Mom in her wheelchair.
She's high as fuck.
Still with that beer can fused to her hand.
Meds. And then she's like, oh, they better hope this wears off before or ends before these wear off. And then everyone's smoking in the gym.
Yep.
John Doe is creeping.
Daddy Lester nodding at the judges like,
of course,
he's got it fixed.
Super on the DL, and it begins. And Gladys comes out. Is that for me or my gown?
And the girls come out in these ridiculous American headpieces.
And like, they do the music. This land is your land. This land is my land. And they talk about why they're all proud to be an American. And what is it? Becky does the like, and you could make an ugly old mountain and turn it into great Americans. And then Lisa
she's got Mount Rushmore hat. Lisa has the Statue of Liberty. She can't light it. She
can't get it lit. And then Leslie does the thing with
Washington Monument where she strokes it off.
And like
Amber has like the United States map.
Right, like anyone can do it. And like atomic power
makes Molly proud to be an Asian American.
Right. And like the biggest ball of twine, my Uncle Bill's biggest ball of twine in Bundy, Minnesota makes me proud. I
misunderstood the assignment.
And then it falls. Oh, God, it's so funny.
So and then we discover Amber's tap costume is missing.
Gone, but she's like, what am I even saying? Like, I should ask you, Becky.
Girlfriend.
Where is it? Bring it on. Bring it on.
It's already been brought. That's wrong movie. Same person,
wrong
wrong movie.
She did.
Yeah, same person, wrong movie.
So they have a full-on fight, pulling hair and doing all the shit.
Iris breaks it up. And then she's like, I hate her. Oh,
we all do.
And then Mary gives her little farewell performance where she's wheeled out by the nurse.
Don't cry out loud.
In this wig.
When the nurse is running with the wheelchair.
She spins her, runs her around the stage.
Who could forget when she was lip syncing to Melissa Manchester's Don't Cry Out Loud. Fly high and proud.
Then their physical fitness number, they get their stools and they were just painted.
What kind of you-know-what paints a thing right before the competition? And it's, of course, Hank did it.
Yep. And so Cloris gives them some Vaseline for their teeth to make them smile.
Hopefully if they're looking at your teeth, God willing, they won't be looking at your feet.
So they do their dance routine and get covered in paint.
Oh God, it's so funny. And then they have to wipe it off.
It just keeps getting you're using like paint thinner.
Yes, to take it off, and then we see like Hank's attacking Gladys. Like, oh, it's fine. My dress is fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, Lisa comes out saying while they're all cleaning up with that turpentine that Tess has blown chunks.
Yes.
And she had a very large dinner.
Yes.
And Becky's like, she should have shoved that bolt down her throat for dessert. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, Miss Congeniality goes too. Mm-hmm. Right. So then Gladys comes out in her winning outfit.
From when she was the American teen princess.
Butterick pattern 7432.
That was her talent.
Right. And it still fits. Like,
she sewed these culottes.
Yeah. She had a big ass then. She's got a big ass now. They come out for the talent portion.
And Amber's costume is missing.
Yes. And she's sad because she's not going to be able to.
Right.
Compete.
Leslie's making out with her boyfriend in a corner. Tess is on stage howling like a beagle.
She's almost going to puke. And Amber's sad. Miss K gives her a leotard to wear.
Yeah, I got an outfit for you.
Right. because you need to go out there and kick some Lehman ass. Oh, not so hard, honey. I heard something snap.
No one likes the Lehmans, obviously.
Right. And then we have the cheerleading and the Soylent Green, all serious.
Yes.
And that's in a couple years, 2024. Fade in.
Yes, right? And then Iris telling Amber she can't go on in this costume. It's the rules.
Right. You had to get it approved a week before, and that wasn't approved a week before. And so she goes
to Gladys.
Right, because she's like, well, doesn't somebody stealing your costume negate that rule? So she goes to Gladys, and she was like, I don't think so.
Nope.
And besides, honey, it's a skimpy thing. I can't have you going out there. There's children in the audience. And then she's like, that's my cue. She's like, well, this isn't an American teen pageant. This is Nazi Germany.
So Amber's in tears, and the other girls comfort her. Everybody but Becky and the one who's on stage.
Right, it's Molly's out there.
line dancing.
She's line dancing, and like Lester's out there sneaking a drink in the
audience.
Audience, and like Lisa ends up giving her costume.
She's like, "Look, I'm not gonna win this. Take my costume.
Family only needs one Liza, and Peter's got better legs than me." And she's like, "Your parents are gonna be mad. Like, I don't think you should do that." She's like, "No, they love me, and besides, they only had me because Peter needed that kidney."
So then Gladys introduces Becky.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
I fucking lost it at this point.
Sings,
"This
You're
is the
just too
rumors
good
are
to
true.
be true.
There is a special fella in my life.
And
it's Jesus on a cross. It's a puppet Jesus, a
and
Muppet
she
Jesus on a cross.
A la William Shatner.
Da, da, da. Yes.
You're just too good to be true.
Can't take my eyes off of you.
Yes. And like the audience is visibly uncomfortable with this performance where she's dancing with Jesus on the cross.
Annette is dying.
Yes, all high off her ass in the audience,
laughing their asses off. Like, oh my God! And then she like goes off carrying the cross
on her back,
and like the audience, it's like a smattering of applause,
like
barely
no one's sure.
And like
applause.
Lester's trying to like, yeah, and everyone's like,
that's
yeah,
my girl.
That was the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then
they find out Lisa has dropped out.
Right. They come out. Iris comes out.
Oh, and I had to ask, though, before we move too far past Becky, why the poodle skirt for this Jesus number?
I don't know.
What the fuck did the 50s poodle skirt have to do with Jesus?
I don't know.
Okay, as long as there was no answer for you either. Okay, yeah.
It made her look wholesome, I guess.
Yeah,
it's a poodle skirt. It's the 50s. She's a clean teen.
I guess. So, yes, we find out.
I'm allergic to that shit, though.
If you sneeze 3 times, though, I'm going to say get your shit together.
If I sneeze 3 times, Melissa Etheridge will show up.
Oh, no.
If you sneeze twice, you're married to a leprechaun.
Oh,
shit. If you sneeze twice, you're married to a leprechaun. Be careful.
So I'm not going to be scared. I'm going to be scared to sneeze again.
So Lisa's dropped out, and Amber is now the last contestant.
Right. And like Gladys, first she comes out like, oh, I'd hate to be the one to follow that act. Voice of an angel, that one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then, so she tells everybody that Lisa's dropped out and that Amber is the last contestant. She comes out and does her little
She
dance.
taps her ass off. And the audience loves it. Standing O, even Lester.
And like, I can't imagine her doing this in the other costume, that red sequence.
Yeah, this costume was pretty perfect for that outfit. I mean, for that dance.
It was perfect for the outfit.
Yeah, the outfit was perfect for the outfit.
I love that for you.
But it was also perfect for the dance.
Right.
Like, it totally fit.
It reminded me of, remember when Kelly Bundy did that dance thing to Fever on
oh shit,
that's what that reminded me of. That dance, probably they lifted it from Married with Children,
possibly
because it looked the same. Anyway, that
so she gets a standing ovation even from Becky's dad, Lester.
Right. He doesn't really have a choice, but
because everybody's standing up. Yeah. And then Gladys comes out in front of her like, okay, that's
okay.
Enough. And she says, the time has finally come to say goodbye to the judges so they can make the toughest decision of their lives.
Right. They ask the judges, like they go back and they're interviewing the judges and like nobody knows.
No one knows who the winner is. Why would we know who the winner is? We haven't tabulated the scores.
I know who the winner is.
Hank knows who the winner is.
Hank, I know who the winner is. Shh. I know who the winner is.
And John Doe attacks him to shut him up.
Shut your goddamn mouth. He's like, why don't you get him a sitter?
And he starts to cry. The babysitter is dead.
Oh, don't tell mom.
Oh, shit.
The babysitter's
okay, mom's dead, too. There's no mom
Don't you
to
know
tell.
the babysitter's dead? It's not his fault. He's crazier than a shithouse rat.
So the girls are waiting for the scores.
And they're talking about, has anybody talked to Janelle? Like, oh, yeah, the blow to the head made her deaf.
She's super happy.
Super happy.
Loves it.
Right. And Becky's whining. Like, who's counting the fucking votes?
And so Iris comes in. It's time.
Right.
We find Leslie is the second runner-up, and she is fucking stoked.
Oh, she is stoked because she thinks she got second place. But then, and this is, what are they competing for? It's a $50 scholarship to the
scholarship.
VOTech. The VOTech of her choice. $50, $75, and then $500.
Yeah, that's a big jump.
Provided by
Lehman Furniture.
So Leslie wins second runner-up, and then of course Amber is our
first runner-up, which
and-
she's happy about. I mean,
right. She's at least
she's
she got
gracious.
to compete, and nobody is surprised
that Rebecca is the winner.
Oh, it's my daughter, Rebecca Ann Lehman.
And the audience is not super stoked.
No,
they're kind of like,
yeah,
okay.
obviously. And then Gladys goes and snatches that crown off
Mary's little poor anorexic head.
Rating or whatever. Poor little, she's gonna take
Probably
all
took
her
some hair. Yeah, probably took some hair with it.
But yeah, like Lester tries to rile everybody up out in the crowd, and everyone's like, yeah. And then we have that there she is,
The mayor,
our Melrose American teen princess. Doesn't she look fine?
And they put Mary and Annette back in the ambulance to take them back to the hospital.
Back of Loretta's pickup, like thank goodness for bungee cords.
And Leslie's boyfriend, who was all super stoked in the
did she
theater,
tell him that
is
she
suddenly
was
like,
pregnant?
well, I don't know. She's like, I got second. No, you got third.
It was third. So, and then what is it? She's all sad. Amber's all sad because I guess 8 was only good for Diane Sawyer.
Yeah, so she's disappointed.
And then Lisa's dad was like, I hope it was worth it. Like Peter would never. And like, you know what, Dad? Peter's gay. Gay!
What?
That's my favorite fucking line in this whole. But you know what? You know what, Dad? And he didn't know.
Right? He's a drag queen. I mean,
Well,
I guess
he
not
might
all
not have
drag
to
queens
be.
are gay,
No.
but like, come on now.
What is it in the Golden Girls? Frank, Dorothy's brother wasn't gay.
Oh,
just
okay,
liked
but
to
he was a
dress
drag
up
queen.
in women's
Or a
clothing.
female impersonator, or just a.
Just like to
He
dress
just
up
liked to
in
dress
women's
up.
clothing. I don't know
Hey,
if they ever.
you do you,
whatever.
boo.
You do you, boo. I love it for you.
Hell yeah.
If you like it, I love it.
So Lisa tells her dad it was worth it, that Amber
right.
should have won.
Yes.
And so then we see the bathroom girls talking shit.
Right, like what a surprise. And they're like, are you going to go to the parade? Like, nah, I think I'm like due or something.
Yeah, because that one has been pregnant this whole time.
Yeah.
So then it's parade day.
Oh, God, we see this gigantic swan float
From
at the
Mexico.
parade. Yes. And it's like beautiful as a whore's ass today, ain't it, boys? Fucking Lester's out there being gross.
And Becky insisted on this big swan float.
But it smells funny, like gasoline. Like, oh, everything from Mexico smells like that.
Get up there.
Yeah, get up there. You wanted this. And he's like, oh, yeah, I had this made down in Mexico. I always offer to pay him off in tacos. They love
fucking
that.
racist. Oh, my God.
He is that guy. He's a combination.
Yeah.
He used that. I feel
Right?
like I didn't see that anywhere, but I feel like he used that experience.
He was like,
and
I
put
feel
it
like this
into
is the same
I know
character.
what to do. I know what to do.
So Gladys lights a sparkler. to
Oh
set
yeah,
off
but
the little. Oh wait, before
everybody's
that-
showing up because that's what.
Oh yeah, and then like Hank gets stuck in the
he
door.
gets stuck in the thing, and we see him later, and we see that little disclaimer that because they're documentarians, they
They weren't
do not
allowed to
interfere.
intervene. Yeah.
They're not going to intervene in this whole situation.
So all these kids are fucking with him until he
Right.
pins one and eats his cotton candy, and then they all scream and run off.
And then we see it later where like his pants, he's out of his pants.
Yeah, he
gets
got out.
his
He just
pants
got
and
out
he's
of the
gone.
overalls. Yeah.
And then because of that, when they see it later, like Gladys is lighting the sparklers on the float.
Right, because it's supposed to be like look like a sparkly
right, this
whatever.
is the effect that we wanted. They light the thing, and we see it kind of.
As she walks away and turns, you see a
They're like, we ran out of bars.
and then the swan float.
Well, no, like we see, it's like smoking.
It's smoking, so they're in the
Amber
car
and
behind
Leslie
it,
are
like
talking about- she was
commenting
like,
on.
if we die choking on swan gas, like, would you make sure you cover up all the hickeys,
Right.
and the bite marks? And I know it's not going to show, but between my thighs, she's
I
like,
got it. I
It's
got
fine."
it.
And then whoosh,
Like just fucking the swan explodes.
Oh my god, in flames. There's
With
a huge
Becky on it.
explosion. Yes.
And so,
Kaboom.
of course, Gladys is crying. Baby, get up. We got to go to
Baby, we gotta
state.
go to- The swan ate my baby.
Iris is trying to pull her off. Get off of me, you
Right.
cow.
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of losers. That's what I'm looking at. She's like, and you. It should have been you. I should have killed you when I had the chance. And then
Yep,
she
like Tammy.
Right. She confesses to murdering Tammy. She was a crispy critter out there on the thresher.
And then now, how we've heard a couple times references at Cops. Cops does show up.
Yes.
The
And
Cops
it's-
camera crew and introduces themselves to the
They
documentary
know
crew.
the documentary
Yeah.
crew. Like, oh, hey,
Hey,
what's
what's
up,
up?
dude? Like, yeah, you know, whatever. They like shake hands and shit. And at the Becky's funeral,
With the burnt tiara on the casket.
in the semi-melted tiara. Amber is crowned American Team Princess by default.
But she's not happy about the way she won.
Right. And like the pastor's talking about, like, maybe this is God's way of saying buy American. She went up in like the flaming swan. Oh, God.
So Loretta tells her it's because you're a good person and good things happen to good people.
She's like, nah, that's pure bullshit. You got lucky as hell, so you might as well enjoy it.
So then Amber talking about how she never liked Becky, but she didn't deserve that.
She didn't deserve to die in the belly of a swan like that.
And
then
Loretta clearly just finished banging the delivery boy who brought her packet from state.
it's her itinerary, and it has arrived from the state pageant. And they're like, oh, we'll be staying overnight at the Howard Johnson's near the airport. Loretta is stoked.
So
And
excited.
She's like, we got to practice. So
Only
she-
4 days, so
Right.
dancing montage.
She taps everywhere. She arrives at the say airport Hojo.
Yeah, they come in her boss's white hearse. He drives
God,
them
like,
to the Hojo.
Why don't you take a picture to last longer?
Loretta's
And she's
flipping
like,
off to
"Don't do
other
that.
contestants.
I have to work with these people.
And then we meet Mo Gaffney
Yes.
and Nora Dunn, who are the state board for American Team Princess and the
they-
co-founders of the Minnesota Modeling Academy.
And they are already half cocked at least.
We'll waive your $50 fee if you give us a name and address of,
your friend. Yeah. And they're already drunk, and they're like, so due to a scheduling mix-up, we're not staying overnight. So you have 8 hours
to practice
to
for the
practice
pageant.
for the pageant, and then we're doing it. So now they have to learn all the moves and have a seafood dinner.
A seafood buffet.
Yes.
But Amber doesn't eat shellfish.
Nope, my mom always says don't ever eat shellfish or anything that carries its house with it, because you never know when's the last time they cleaned, which because of that,
You still don't eat
because
shellfish?
of that, yeah, I think about it at least. I might eat some shell. Well, I'm also
You make
not
sure
in
that don't
Minnesota.
have poop in it.
I'm also not in Minnesota, and I hope that the poop vein has been
And
removed.
I can't remember ever eating at a seafood buffet.
No, it was probably
Not a
room
$9.99 seafood
There was,
buffet
like,
at a
mussels,
airport Hojo.
Hojos. Like the seafood, it was like provided by. There was a name.
Yeah, it said something
like
provided by some
Adrienne's
company.
or some
Yeah.
shit or whatever. And like Loretta's cruising the bar.
Of course, yeah. She's
I
she's
see
like
you're
picking up
married.
bartenders.
Right. And like, if you catch this in your mouth, I'll give you a kiss.
Yeah.
And then like the other ladies are drunk at the pool, and they're like yelling at the kids with the Marco Polo, like, shut up, or I'll come over there and rip your fat little heads off.
And then we see the talent practice, and Amber is feeling very daunted because these girls are
Right.
very talented.
The other tap dancing girl is like
good at tap. Really good.
She's like, I might as well just,
I might as
go,
well just go
home.
home.
Like,
But
this
then-
is not. The little girl comes. Oh, the little girl that she was talking to at dinner, where she was talking about how her
the
friend
one that's
slept
dressed
with
like
Adam
Dorothy.
West,
Yeah.
and like he could not be reached for comment. See,
yeah.
I told you. I told you. I told you guys.
And all of a sudden, she gets sick.
And it's like, oh,
I think it's just nerves.
right. Like, you better just get over it or whatever. And then everybody starts
News camera
puking, like,
showing-
oh shit, cover your drinks. I need a priest.
Salmonella dysentery outbreak from the shellfish.
Right.
Call an ambulance. Yeah, call a priest
Call a
for Christ's
priest.
sake.
And, like, they interviewed one of the
Cameramen,
document guys.
yeah.
It's like fucking beauty queens blowing chunks everywhere. I've never seen anything like it before, and I live in LA.
Yeah, and there's people being wheeled out to ambulances.
Right. And while they haven't ruled out sabotage from some of the other local pageant things, the other important thing is we have a winner, and it's Amber.
It's Amber by
who,
default.
Again, has won by default.
And
again.
mom is watching from the hospital. Her hand has now been amputated.
Right. And she's like, well, how do you feel? And she's like, I feel like I need a shower.
Yeah, because she probably has puke all over
Like,
her.
Loretta's like, I got some.
Yeah. And then in jail, Gladys is being interviewed off camera.
Oh, yeah. She's like a prison wife.
Saying that little bitch better watch her
She's
back
like,
at nationals. She's
I've made
making friends.
friends on the outside.
And she clearly has a girlfriend, a big beefy girlfriend in
right,
jail.
Yeah, and like our baby's going to nationals in Alabama, and like Annette, she's struggling to open this beer. She's like,
Yes,
no,
with her
the
hook hand. She has a
doctor
hook
said
hand now.
I had to practice, and she just like
Just pierces it with her hook.
like, I did it. I did it. I did it.
The mayor announces Amber as she heads off for nationals.
And she's gonna have that little signal for her mom, the little,
Little
smoke.
cigarette
my little
smoking. Carol Burnett. They get to national headquarters in Alabama.
Yep, they get off the bus, and we see after 50 years, the Sarah Rose Cosmetics headquarters
Has been seized.
by the IRS for tax evasion to beautiful dreamer
And the pageant has been permanently canceled.
And the fucking pageant
riot.
girls riot.
Breaking windows,
They
tearing
throw
shit
their-
down.
Destroying the corporate art.
Amber walks sadly
she just
away.
gets back on the bus. So we find out after all of this that Leslie went to beauty school.
Working her way through as a stripper.
But the last time anybody saw her was in the Philippines. So if you have any information,
Let us know about
us
Leslie.
know. Harold dies of a tick bite, leaving Hank the store.
Who he's like out there in a foil outfit
He's
with the
wrapped up in
lawnmower.
foil, and like Gladys gets second in a prison
Beauty pageant.
and then she escapes.
Yep, and tries to sniper Amber.
She's a sniper on the roof with a 6-hour standoff.
And a reporter gets hit with a stray bullet, and Amber grabs the mic,
Steps right in, and she reports.
finishes that report.
Showing poise under pressure, she was given the reporter's job, and she's gonna make it after all.
And then you don't get a follow up for anybody else. That's it.
No,
Those are the
that
only
was it. Well, I
follow-ups you
guess
get.
originally Gladys offs herself in prison, and the librarian, the lutefisk lady, was the sniper.
Oh,
But everybody
interesting.
hated it. 'Cause
They're like,
why?
why would she offer herself?
Like
She's
this
too
makes
narcissistic.
way much more sense.
Yeah.
that she would have done all this and tried
For
to get
sure.
her. And then
I
she
like
got
that
to
ending
be
much better.
a reporter. In the
Yeah,
end.
I like that better.
So everything works out for her
Love it.
in the end.
I wish I would have seen it when it came out. I didn't give
was
it a chance.
not expecting this at all. Like, not at all. And I'm so glad that I went to go see it. We were like the only people in the theater, and I fucking died. My ghost is doing this now. I died back in 1999.
You are speaking, or you are listening to the spirit of Tessa.
Beyond the grave.
So
That's
guess
why I don't
what?
do Ouija boards.
Yeah, because you can't.
I
Because you're already
can't
dead.
because I'm already
You'll
dead.
suck into the Ouija board if you start touching
There's
planchette.
vortexes and it's weird shit. It's a lot of pseudoscience.
So we have a yearbook signing.
Hey!
From Sweet Bean Baker.
Hey!
We know who you are.
Hey!
Mess with the best, die like the rest. Often, I listen in the car, and the folks in the neighboring cars look at me like I'm legit crazy because I'm laugh snorting like a jackass during this podcast. Every episode is not only hilarious, but definitely like sitting around with buds and chopping it up. Tessa and Nicole are the best. Definitely worth your dedication to Sparkle Motion.
Hey!
Thank you. And I want to give a thank you to Mike, who made us our on-air sign. If you're listening, which I know that you are, thank you very
doing
much.
it.
We are using it now.
It's on. We are on the air.
We are. And everybody else, we will talk at you next week.
Later, Doomers.
Doomers.
Thanks again for listening to Comedy by Indie Drop-In Network. If you would like to nominate a comedy podcast to be featured, just send me a tweet at Indie Drop-In. I'd also love to hear if one of our featured podcasts is now your favorite show. Indie Drop-In survives off ad revenue and listener donations. If you would like to contribute, please consider buying me a coffee. Just go to buymeacoffee.com/Indie Drop-In. If you look at the very bottom of the episode description, you will see a link. Indie Drop-In has many other shows that you also might like. Just go to indiedropin.com. All right, we'll see you next week.